Performance anxiety. Okay, I'd like to call to order the September meeting of the Oregon City Public Library Board. The board members in attendance are Heidi Blackwell, Larry Osborne, Bill Carton, Lori Spinagle, myself. Cynthia Andrews is out of the country in excused absence, and Lisa Oreskovich is MIA at the moment. And staff present are Greg Williams and Denise Butcher. So the first item of business is approval of the minutes of the August meeting. Please, any comments, corrections?
They were excellent. I move to approve them.
There you go. Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, library directors.
Hey, thank you, David. I didn't have anything written here. I do have one verbal update I'll give, but before I do, were there any questions on any stats or?
One question.
Yes.
The very top line, the difference between the number of new enrollments this month versus last year this month.
Yes, that was due last year. That was the first month of our student library.
Yeah, that was the
inaugural year of the student library card program. So,
gotcha.
Yep, big hike. And now that we've got those people in, we kind of anticipate, for everybody who graduates and drops off, we'll get replacements in there. So that should kind of.
And you had said on the same topic, you had said last month that last month was the book for new.
Yes, September is library.
Okay, so that's not, that's
no.
This month.
Yes.
So we're going to hope the number is
So I will 300 in a month. Pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, didn't mean to.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, we'll see. So actually, we can certainly. Well, that's a good segue into. Would you be willing to share what staff have been doing this month?
Sure.
Other departments?
Sure. So as part of National Library Card Sign-Up Month, we thought that we would visit some of our other city departments. And there's many city staff that don't already have library cards that don't really know everything that the library offers. And so we've been going around to the different departments at different times during either when they have a staff meeting scheduled or during lunchtime, and just setting up and making new library cards and answering questions. And so it's been somewhat successful. So we did 8 cards in a day over at City Hall. So very good. Yeah. They visited Public Works and the pool today. I'm not sure what, I haven't talked to them to see what the outcome was, but
I'm sure it was good. So
I'm sure.
It's also a great opportunity just for us to connect with our city colleagues and make sure they know we're here.
Yeah.
And they're library district residents then, or just because they work for the city, they can get a card?
They are most of them are resident. I'm assuming they're doing a check. I will say with many libraries, I honestly don't know. It's if you work, within the district as well. That's something that could qualify you for a.
I mean, I know teachers can do that.
Yes, educated cards can do so. Yeah. So.
Here's a question. Do we get any idea from GIS or anybody who what the churn is in new residents versus people move away? Do you know when people buy a house, rent a house? Well, you would know that.
Yeah. I mean, we get population. The Portland State University Population Research Center does population updates every year, which they base on. They've got some methodology. They break it down by city and county, so it's interesting. I don't know that in their data that I've seen them say, they give the net. I don't know that I've seen, out, in, and then combine. And I don't know the GIS layer that will get that granular. But, point in time, population ones, yes, and you can kind of see the change in population.
Yeah, I just wondered because a friend of mine moved into assisted living and he'd otherwise be off the radar screen, and I'm going to drag him down soon for a card.
I can certainly, I can let everybody know, just so it's not right. Historically, one of the initiatives that we have been trying to do as a county cooperative is to eliminate overdue payments. As Washington County and Fort Vancouver and Multnomah County have done. And historically, the approach that has been taken was until we are all ready to do it as a cooperative, we're not going to do it. I will say that has changed. In recent months, there is one library who has gone fine-free. It's Milwaukee. So they are no longer, our internal computer system has been configured to deal with that. I don't have official announcements from other libraries, but I will just tell you that I anticipate there will be others following in suit in the next couple of months. And so at some point, we can certainly have a discussion on how Oregon City wants to approach that. But I didn't want you to be surprised if the paper one day and see. I won't say the names of the library because they haven't announced it officially yet, but you'll probably see some other libraries sometime before the end of the year announce it. It just makes me a little like, so, but anyway, just want to let everybody know that was what's going on. Any questions about that? No. In general, fine free is a good thing, in my opinion. It's great not to charge. I certainly do wish that we had all been able to get there together as a cooperative, because that is one of the things that we value very much about being in a cooperative is consistent service throughout this county. But that's not going to be the case in this situation.
Shall we talk about library board meeting dates?
Sure. And
I've asked if we could shift the October meeting 1 week later, because I'm going to be out of the country for 2 weeks in October. And so to make it the fifth Wednesday, which is what date?
Which will be 29th. Yes.
I will be out of town that day
Okay.
and not able to Zoom.
Okay.
I will essentially be out of the country because I'll be in Epcot. So. Yeah, I just have to tell you that.
There you go. Okay. Anybody else have problems with that date? 29th? No. Okay. Well, we'll do that. And all right, great. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, all right.
And then the November meeting turns out to be the day before Thanksgiving. And so we thought we would cancel that meeting completely and not have a November meeting at all. There's really not a lot going on really for that. And now we've got to deal with December. So
well, I presume that nobody wants to meet the day before Thanksgiving.
that's Christmas for me.
This as well, yeah.
So what should we do about December?
Well, so that's a great segue. If you're ready, that's a great segue into our next agenda item, which is library board. So before we talk about
Do we need to make an official motion to move the meeting dates? No. Okay.
No, that is sure everybody's on the same page. So we have these coming up. So two people's terms expire at the end of the year. Oz and we'll we're Oz eligible. I don't know if we could bring him back kicking and screaming, for a third term, but we don't have to put him in that awkward position because you're not eligible. Yes, you are So Oz's position will be open. Lori was appointed to finish out a term, so that appointment ends at the end of this year. Since it's not a full term, Lori, you're eligible to serve 2 more full terms for the city code. So there will be 2 vacancies. Those 2 positions, Oz's position is a city position, and the one that Lori currently occupies is an at-large position, which can be filled by either a city or a corporated resident. We will get applications, and you will interview all of the applicants and make the recommendations to the mayor. The mayor makes the final appointing decision on that, but.
She usually tunes into those interviews
Right.
also.
Yes, and she may come. Yeah, she certainly.
So two questions on that since I'm
Yes.
in the mix. Do I not participate in the interviews?
There is nothing that is written in it. I think that the practice has been in the past that people have voluntarily excused themselves from participating.
If there's more than one candidate, you may be the only
Okay.
candidate. So that's
And I don't remember, I am not city. We figured that out.
Well, what your current position that you
Right, I know, I'm at large, but I'm at where I dwell within
You
Oregon.
are a city resident.
Okay, so I fit, because I noted in the
Yes,
information, you said that I don't need to specify which position I am.
yes, that is, and I verified with the city recorder, that is something as a library board, that if you've got two positions,
You've got two good candidates and.
yes, so you may recommend any eligible candidate for whichever position you feel they would be best
I
suited.
don't have to specific.
Yes, last time around, we did have to do it very separately because there was one that was unincorporated only and one that was city only. And so we had to make sure that only eligible applicants were competing for it. But in this case, it's one is an at-large. Anybody who applies could potentially qualify for that.
Well, could I suggest that, because so we really need to have a December meeting.
Yes.
And so
yeah.
what I suggest is we have it on the third Wednesday then, the week before.
Actually,
Or the
second, because the second Wednesday, so we went through the
Right,
calendar.
right.
And in order to ensure that there's enough time for us to meet, for us to get it to the city recorder, for him to get it on the city commission's agenda by the end of the year.
So what does that do?
December 10th.
That
Okay,
is way better than the next week, so that's good.
So yeah.
that's your busy season, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we have for Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's-
Okay, great. All right, so that,
So that works for everybody here.
Yes.
all right, great. Thank you.
With that December 10th, it's kind of up to us about when we will, how long we want the applications open for. I suggested Thursday, December 4th, because that will still give me, I send them out on the Friday, and that will still give you the weekend and the week to kind of review those applications. If you felt you needed more time than that, I can move the.
No, that makes sense. Now, did we not have a couple of board members go through and redo the questions?
Well, we did so thank you very much to Bill for reminding me. So I did include the questions in there. And yes, there was a subcommittee, which I apologize, I completely forgot. So the way we're going to approach this is, we put the questions in the packet. Since it is an official subcommittee of the board, I do have to publicly notice it. And, we do have to have a formal meeting. So it was Bill, Cynthia, and as the chair, you're by default, you get to be a member of a committee.
Okay.
If you want. So
If I want?
Yes, I believe, yes, you can.
Okay.
I think we put it in the bylaws that you are a member of each subcommittee,
Nice.
but you don't show up.
All right.
And I was all set to have a meeting with Cynthia.
Yeah.
Not on record, because I misinterpreted what the regs are.
Yes.
So it's good that she's
Okay.
Yes.
on and we didn't have that meeting.
So
We didn't have that meeting.
what we would love to do, is that if you've got feedback, initial feedback on the questions, let's have a quick discussion now.
Yeah.
Bill can listen to that, I can hear. We can take that to our big meeting, take that feedback, use that, and then in October, for our October meeting, we will bring the questions back for your formal approval. And then since we're not meeting in November, we'll just use them for December. So that sounds like,
Yeah.
if that's.
Yeah, they were right. They weren't very substantive questions and that bothered me and Sylvia the most.
And there was some duplications.
And duplication.
There were a lot of questions.
Yeah.
There were some. And I will say, as I also did, this is your process,
Yeah.
right? As library board, this is a tool for you to get information from people applying, so make it useful.
So if you have any real concerns, just get it to me or to Greg or to any one of us. All right, and we'll have that meeting publicly. since we know when Cynthia is available.
Yeah. But did anybody have any feedback off the top? The one thing I remember is that there was discussion about not having questions. Are you able to meet and are you willing to?
Or if that could be part of like the just initial application, so that applicants would be like right up front and know that that's an expectation.
Yes.
I think it was when I applied last time. I think it's not bad to confirm it at the meeting, just because.
But we can confirm it outside of the interview.
To verify. I don't know.
Yeah. Or I can do that. You know.
I felt like when you asked me that question, since I had to answer it, that it was just that verbal confirmation that you know what you're signing up for. You've checked your schedule, and I felt like okay, I didn't find that as. I thought the unincorporated question is number 7 is really, it's just really a hard question for people who, and I know you're looking for like any idea is a good idea, but but I just thought that that was just rough. I think that's your biggest challenge, our biggest challenge. So I mean, it's not a bad question to ask, but it's a really hard question to answer. Is it?
Those kind of separate the people who have gone out to the website and read the bylaws and everything from those who haven't.
Does that?
And just as a clarifying question, just brainstorming, is it more the fact that makes this, like if the question had more simply been, what ideas do you have about providing service to people who live far away from the building and not differentiating between sitting?
Yeah, I think that might have been a little bit clearer, but I think it's, that question of, the two good questions are, how do we get more people to use the library, right? And how do we reach out to people who are further away, right? So, yeah.
I mean, there's just lots of barriers, though. It's not just distance, right? So if we're really, wanting problem solving or a probing question, it's what, do you think are some barriers to access to the library? And then what are some ideas that you have
That's a good way to
address them? So that just opens it up to not just distance, language, time that the library's open, any number of things that hopefully there's some awareness.
That's a good thought.
I think that's a very good thought.
Because we might not be thinking of the barriers that somebody else.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. Any other thoughts on any of the other questions or thing, even if it's not a question, like is there, especially for those of you who've been through this a couple of times, are there things that you specifically have left you? I wish we'd asked about this, or I really wanted to know, about this, and it never came up.
Well, in general, the best ones are open-ended. Write or speak a mini essay about something, and something we have to meet to distinguish candidates between, right? And that would help the mayor too, the mayor and us. But just anything besides yes, no, platitudes or obvious answers. Something that shows some insight, at least. At least some familiarity with, well, why do you want to serve this way?
There's really no question on here about what their perception of challenges facing libraries. And so again,
it opens the budgeting can of worms.
It just opens
yes.
And so I think we really need to have a sort of open-ended question, are you aware of challenges that are facing libraries in America and our library in particular?
I think that I was going to ask, I respect your process and lead you everywhere, but I think about a lot.
We look like sheep.
Let's just say I'm not concerned about that feedback from anybody on the board. Let's just say there was a former elected official who no longer is in the city, but gave that. Sometimes I've tried to respect that. One of the challenges that face, material challenges, intellectual freedom. I don't know if that's something that, I know that some library boards, when they do their application, they do ask specific questions about it. What materials do you think should be available in a public library? How do you see balancing, availability of materials with, concerns about, kids? I don't know if you want to get that granular or if you want to keep it more just what some of the challenges you see are, but I'm also conscious that, the environment out there is a little different than it has been.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I think the broader,
I agree.
Because you should be able to get to that with the role of the library board, like somebody knows what the role is, that is budget and that is policy, it's not deciding what's on, the shelves to that extent, or, who's staffing one day or another, like that's not us. So, when you talk about the role of the library board, we want somebody that talks about budgeting and policy, that.
Okay, if you're comfortable, we can get to that through that question. Yeah, you can always ask clarifying questions or follow up. So, okay.
Anything else?
Other feedback or thoughts? No? Okay. Anything else you want to ask before we later this month dig into it?
Not at all.
Okay.
Except for the process thing. One thing I believe our process was we couldn't deviate from the script. We couldn't ask follow-up questions.
We could ask
targeted to each candidate's answers.
Yeah. The approach that I always use is, if it's something they've mentioned on their application, fair game, right? If it's something they bring up in the course of the interview, certainly you can expand on that. What I would steer away from is total left field question.
What's your favorite
Ask
sport
one
team?
candidate, don't ask anybody else.
Right, or questions about, we see you have 3 kids.
Yes.
Is that going to be a barrier to, totally,
Yes.
we're totally illegal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's going to take it to a lawsuit.
Oh, my wife got that one. First out of college. You're gonna get pregnant?
So, yeah, sure.
Come on.
You don't spend any.
So to me, if they mention it during the interview, perfectly fair.
Fair game.
Yeah, I hate to say fair game. It's not like you're trying to get them, but yes, it's appropriate to ask follow-up questions.
Well, and that's the kind of discussion we should have as part of our preparation process for the interviews.
For outreach or for advertising this opportunity, it's just generally through obviously the city website. Is there something like that social media wise that goes out from the library? Just trying to think how to maybe attract some different candidates.
Or even a sign down at the checkout counter, at the counter you say.
It's easy
No more
enough to
time. I don't want to spend more,
Right.
staff time,
but
thinking of what's already going on and how.
Yes.
It oddly showed up on my Facebook feed. Like the library near you is looking for people. I was like, they knew where I live. It was odd that I looked and you were. But it was really weird how I found you.
Yeah, we can certainly schedule a couple of posts on. I think what we'd probably do, we might. Typically, some of that we would just share the city's post where they're recruiting for all the boards that they have open. So we can certainly share that a couple of times. But yeah, we can put. I think that's a really great idea. Have a poster out there and just apply for city advisory.
That's where it was. It was the city. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
And there's another vector through neighborhood associations too. I'm starting to get involved in that. And through CIC, Citizens Involvement Committee.
Yes. And I would have to assume that Hannah is the liaison there has let the CIC members know that the city is recruiting for. I
missed the last CIC, but I'll see her tomorrow because we've got a South End meeting tomorrow.
Let's see, historically, we've never had, I've been to the neighborhood associations and they haven't mentioned like city absences, so, or, openings, so that would be an idea.
Yeah.
From my experience.
Yeah, and I think I shouldn't say it's weird. I think the way the city, or at least I've typically approached it, is since the CIC are the official designated representatives to the neighborhood associations, is when we want to bring information to them as a group, we go to CIC. Because we don't want to risk missing somebody, right? You don't want to say, oh, you came to South End, but you didn't come to Canitas, neighborhood association. So yeah, we can, I'll talk to him, make sure that she shares that.
Apparently we have one applicant so far. Not you yet. So it looks like a reasonable applicant. So, okay, anything else?
Okay. Any other questions on the process?
Do you know how they found us already?
I don't know
How
how the other candidate.
Oh, no,
That's like
I
Johnny on the spot, right?
There you go. Yeah.
No, I've not done so yet, but I'll certainly do. When we get applications, I typically confirm receipt, just say, hey, if you have any questions, what it means, please let me chat. I just have not had a chance to do that. Okay. All right.
All right, all booked up.
All right. Well, we are waiting for a guest presentation. So they do have a meeting or a program, but they're going to come right up at 5:30. So Barrett and Jessica are going to be presenting on this right at 5:30 now. So I have to stall a little bit. So.
But we can do a few communications.
Yeah, that's actually right. Yes. Why don't we shift around? Let's do communications if that's okay.
Okay, I'll start with the task force and LDAC. The task force did have another meeting since our last meeting. I believe they did. And so they came up with recommendations that, yes, you've seen them because we disagreed with a number of them. They've not had a meeting since then. The next meeting is in another week or so, and Greg and I will attend. And we've submitted the testimony that we had. We don't know where that's going to go. And we've seen some other feedback from other constituencies that are both positive and negative as well. So we just don't know how that's going to be consumed. It'll be very interesting to watch. So that's where that is. LDAC had a meeting that they did not get a quorum for. So it turned out not to be an official meeting, but it was an open forum, again, to try to get feedback for the task force. And it was okay. I mean, there wasn't a lot. There were a couple of very opinionated people, myself included, that commented about what was going on with that. So that's the status of that.
When's the meeting when they're going to take up
the next meeting? Presumably, again, we don't know which is
the date for that?
October 6th.
6th, yeah. And that's and if we're going to attend. You're welcome to attend.
Is it Zoom?
It's not Zoom.
Okay.
No,
They have not been Zooming.
It's technically not public meetings, so
No, they're
no.
they should be.
Yes,
Yeah.
not treatable. Yeah. All right, the foundation, Greg, any? Aha, all right.
Okay.
Here they are.
All right. Welcome.
Hello.
How did the program?
It was good. We had 32.
Very busy.
Awesome.
We
Okay.
had all these wonderful activities, and then the kids most enjoyed drawing on the whiteboard. Not one of the activities, but it was themed.
Yes.
So I drew a squirrel, we read about acorns.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is Barrett and Jessica. No.
And Jessica's our new youth services, our newest youth services librarian, so 3 months, right? Around 3 months.
Well, almost.
October 2nd.
Yeah.
So I think this is Jessica's first opportunity to meet you all. So I warned her in advance. I put her on the spot. You want to give a 2-minute, your 2-minute bio?
Hi, I'm Jessica McNamee. I moved here this summer from Texas. I am a 23-year Coast Guard wife, so we've had the opportunity to live all over the country and Puerto Rico, so the territories too, over the last 20 years or so. Originally from California, though, so this is our first time back on the West Coast in 20 years, which is kind of exciting. A little less calculation for our families to do when we're going to make a phone call. So, very happy to join the staff here. I'm absolutely loving the area. My background originally, I started my career as an elementary school teacher and then went back and got my master's for library. So I've done, in the last 15 years, I've done both school library and public library, always with youth. So I've worked with kids up through like 0 to 18. I'm really passionate about, school and library partnerships, being support for educators, just promoting literacy and helping kids to become lifelong readers through joy. The joy of reading, sometimes that gets a little beaten down at the age. And so it's, the more we can connect those fun experiences with literacy on our little, I think helps them to hopefully enjoy it all their lives. And community is really important. I think that's perfect in this area. And I think that's something that's really strong in Vacancies. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
All right. And now, so Barrett and Jessica are going to just give a quick update on a new partnership with the school district. And I'm sure I also add some information from the school district perspective, but
we haven't talked about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's part of the Here For It. I don't know if Caitlin's talked to you guys about Here For It yet.
Oh, the attendance.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a new district program that their attendance promotion program that they're rolling out this year called Here For It, which is to encourage family engagement and attendance and lead that to student success. So it's, showing up, making connections with teachers and mentors at school, which I know is one of the school board strategic plan initiatives, and then connecting, showing up at school today for being able to do the things you want to do in the future with career and your adult life. So kind of tying all of those things together. And Caitlin Bergstrom, who's the district's communication person, reached out to us over the summer in August and was like, hey, we're doing this thing and we'd like to just focus in on 3rd through 5th grade and have some sort of reading literacy book activity. And initially they were thinking of kind of like, one book, every month there would be like a shared book that everybody would be reading. And, that quickly got into questions of, how are we going to have enough copies for all of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders to be reading all of these books throughout the year? So instead, we suggested they had monthly themes that they were working with already. And so we suggested, well, why don't we put together book lists? Families can read any book that they want from the theme. And then we'll do a little bit of a prize promotion, encourage them to share what they're reading with us. And we, we'll offer a giveaway book and some leftover Mike's Drive-In tokens for summer reading. But yeah, Jessica did the naming and the branding and all that.
It's like a theme. So we're calling it All Booked Up. So that idea of like connecting books to the calendar. So for that attendance thing. And so every month we roll out a new book list, and actually everything is on the book list page. I think y'all have it pulled up here. So it kind of explains very briefly what that district program is. And then when you click on I think Friendship is live for the month of September, which is like the easiest one to find for in the children's area. But we tried to make it really broad. So we got all kinds of different reading, graphic novels, picture books, chapter books, nonfiction. So all kinds of different things kind of across those reading levels. And then those are some that we're highlighting, but at the top, there's actually even a little link where you can click and it goes right into a catalog search. So that there's, the entire breadth of the catalog there, and links to books in different languages. So trying to hit as many populations as we can.
Can you search by like age group? Can you?
Not, that's like the way that our system is set up is it just groups all children together.
Okay.
So there are ways to search by picture book or early reader or graphic novel or fiction. So we can kind of break some of that out, which is one of the reasons we have this kind of curated list, because we do break down what the different age groups are within it.
Okay.
But with the catalog search, the way that our link infrastructure is set up, it doesn't break it down by age. And it's also, age is so subjective. You have first graders reading things that, fifth grade, some first graders reading things that some fifth graders struggle with, vice versa. So, tying things to specific ages and grades is hard, but we do have a guide on I think it's somewhere on our, I don't remember where it lives now on our website, but we do have our collection is organized by grade band. So we have a second through fourth grade reading band and a third through fifth and a fifth through seventh grade. And we do have kind of a chart that's in the kids' room, and it used to be on the website. I don't know where it moved when we redid the website last year. But it kind of breaks down what those levels are. So if somebody finds something and isn't sure, either they can use that chart, which we also have in the kids' room, or often in the catalog, it will have a lexile level or a reading level, and that's a metric that can be a productive and useful tool. Sometimes it can be used really prescriptively, but that's often teachers are assigning that say kids are reading in this lexile region, so that can be an additional tool to pinpoint whether the reading level is going to be very fit for individual kid.
And we always try to encourage folks to open up the book and give it a try. So it's probably the best way to see it, that one is the right level for them, but also something that they're going to be interested in.
Yeah, and then we also link to our personalized book recommendation form. So the family is looking at that list, or they click through the catalog and they're like, oh, this is overwhelming. None of this is quite right, and I don't know where to start. You can just click right there, fill out a little form, and within 2 days, we'll give them something personalized. So they can tell us, I've got a third grader who really struggles with reading, but is super into trainings. Can you help me out? And so that way we can, if browsing on their own, if nothing on the list looks good, if browsing on their own is overwhelming or they're not finding what they're looking for, they can always, it's all linked right there. They can just reach out and we'll personalize for them.
So a fresh list for each month's theme will roll out at the beginning of the month. There's also a link on that, all on that same book list page where if a family reads a book having to do with the monthly theme, whether it's one of the ones we suggested or not, they can just do a really quick list, maybe 2 or 3 little questions, like what's your name? How can we contact you? What book did you read? And then they're entered into a drawing for a local prize. Yes.
It's being coordinated as well with the libraries and the schools, because the schools, they'll have books as well.
Yes, so we've been working with Doug's school, the district librarian, and he's been sharing our lists with all of the building library staff. And if there's books we have on the lists that he's been trying to purchase. Right. He's been asking librarians at the schools to review these lists, and if they see something that they don't have in their school libraries that they think would be a good fit, he'll purchase copies for them. So they're using it to build.
And they may display. We have a display downstairs that will update every month for the theme. And they may be doing that in the school libraries as well, just to kind of highlight those for their students.
I didn't see Grumpy Monkey, I'm sorry.
I did notice when you clicked on the link, Greg, that we were talking about age, and I think really wisely, since early readers, young readers, it is grouped by age on the recommendation.
We did it by author for this one, but it does have it. You'll see for some of them there are the picture book or the graphic novel or some of our reading.
That was if you want help.
Yes, if you want help, yes. We group everything by age on it.
Request a personalized recommendation.
Yeah.
When you click on that.
Those are all, yes, we have different age bands, and then you can be much more for your grade, for your age. You can be much more precise, tell us more about your kids' interests. And then if you keep scrolling down, we also break down our collections there, what the grade band is.
Every particular type of.
Yeah.
And then Adam, our IT guy, helped us to add actually a new portion under that. Greg, if you go to the top, one of the options, there's kids, teens, adults. There's also for educators. So to really be specific, so just another thing for teachers. If they're looking for a collection of books to use in the classroom, say it's an instructional unit, that they can get really specific on there. Like I'm looking for 15 books to read aloud with my students about the solar system, you know, so we can help to gather a collection for them and have it ready to pick up. That's a separate thing, but hopefully something that teachers will find useful.
I mean, they could always request to put together a master friendship books to read out to teachers for.
I'm still keen to see what you're gonna find for goal setting. That's part.
It's ready to go.
Good job.
It was both really hard and also, like, I saw that and I was like, oh, goal setting is gonna be the hardest one, and it was hard, but it was honestly not harder than the other ones, partly because of how we divided the collections up. I was like trying to find like chapter books about goal setting.
Your books are a little bit easier, especially if you cross over into determination and
Yeah, so
grit, perseverance.
yes, the first list, it was like friendship, and it was so easy, we're like picking, you know, we divided up the collection, we're just kind of doing half, and the rest of my head just, and then just an apology and be like, I'm so sorry, I'm getting like 8 on these. So
What April is like testing.
Oh, it's test report, which. That was not as hard as the other one. It was a little hard to find really like kid-friendly fiction when we're noticing a change in kids' reading stamina for fiction and for chapter books. And so, you know, it really helps to have for chapter books in particular, helps have like super engaging, really catchy, like instant, easy connections. And we're not a lot for testing success in the chapter book. It was a little bit more of a stretch for some.
Are there audiobooks then, or? Okay.
Yes, so if you look on that all booked up list, Greg, the next tab over, if you scroll down, if there's an audio version, we link directly either to the audiobook in the catalog, or if there's an ebook or audiobook version, I'll say that it's available on Levy, and there will be to Levy to go and download. So anytime that there was an audiobook version, we included that as well. But unfortunately, like publishers don't make audio for everything, and even when they do, yeah. And if there's a physical, like a CD audiobook or a playaway, we add a link for those as well. So it's all.
And I think the purpose of this program is to really make that connection between family engagement and the success that you have through that, right? So I think having different options for things that families can read together. And, you know, a chapter book might be a lot to chew on as a family, right? But so, you know, we try not to be prescriptive in this is the right book for the creator. If your family's going to enjoy reading The Bad Seed together, you know, and it's a 20-minute picture book, and that's how you want to engage with that topic, that's totally fine, as long as it's some time together and a discussion. That's the goal.
Yeah. But many of them do have audio available, and when we have it through Link, we do include that in the list. Plus the friendship list, you can limit just to audiobook, whether you want to see just digital audio or CD audio or playaway audio, whatever your format is. And then, and I'm really trying to kind of push this when I've been talking to school staff, is that I think a lot of the interest in audio comes from kids who have dyslexia or another identified learning disability. And all of those kids qualify for the Talking Book program through the state library and through that National Library Service for the Blind. It covers any print disability, including, and it's not just like a visual impairment or mobility impairment, it is dyslexia. And I believe they just updated the criteria a couple years ago. You used to have a doctor note required for that dyslexia program, and they removed that. It's now any like librarians can sign kids up. So for kids who, you know, need that audio access for an identified learning disability that's in their IEP, they also have access to a much wider range of audiobooks through that program. So I really want to like, when that's the specific, like sometimes it's a preference. Sometimes it's, you know, you have a kid who doesn't have an identified learning disability. They're just maybe still working on building those skills, or they just like listening to audio. You know, the audio offerings we have are available. But if it is a specific need based around a disability or something in their IEP, they qualify for that program. We will get those kids connected to that program so that they get wider access to a broader variety of books. It's a much they have more to choose from, and there's no waiting lists for those titles. So it allows, instead of having to compete with all of the other kids for titles, they can't really access multiple formats. It allows them to make sure they're getting quick and easy access to the format they need.
Any questions? Yeah.
And I'm just very curious, I like collecting data then of how many kids are participating or however long the mic's tokens go.
So basically, we're asking them to share with us, and then what that's the free ice cream is the incentive to give us that. So we'll pick a winner each month from that pool, so that we'll do it like for a family basis. So one kid wins, but they've got 2 younger siblings. So just the whole family will, everybody will get an ice cream. And so we'll get some data that way on how people are engaging. There's a lot of unknowns about this. Some people may choose to do it and not track it anyway. That's what they do. But
I think it's really exciting that the school district, the library are working increasingly together.
Yeah.
Yes.
This matters.
Yeah, we had a very good meeting with the assistant superintendent / director of teaching and learning. And it sounds like thanks to some changes at the state level, like particularly one of the areas we wanted to collaborate and haven't had a lot of success with is summer school and summer programming with the district, particularly because the funding comes in so late. Like in this year, I think it was April 29th, and it was 6 weeks to put together a whole summer program. And there was not time to do anything but just, tunnel vision, get the thing done. But it looks like there's going to be notification more likely in October, early November this year about funding. So they're going to have like 6 months to plan summer learning at the school district, which gives us time to be involved, to be hopefully, we've talked about being part of that process and doing more alignment with some of those initiatives. So that's really exciting because it's always been a big challenge for us. Because summer reading is the biggest thing we do every year. It's this big gap where the schools are trying to do a lot to kind of help bridge that connection from one year to the next, and largely due to just how tight that timeline is for summer learning.
Thank you.
Comment? Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Barrett.
Yeah.
And I want to give them kudos. Partnering school is always great. To me, this wasn't an obvious one. It's like, it's an attendance, program. So kudos to you guys for working and, kind of figuring out, hey, here's something that makes sense for both of us and is, kind of organic and works and makes sense. So I thought that was really creative.
Great.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to OC.
Thank you.
Oh, I meant to say, were there any public comments?
Never not.
Never not. Okay. So, Greg, you want to talk about the foundation? Because Cynthia's not here.
Yes, we did not meet, or we're not meeting this month. We will meet again in November. Sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. At our last meeting, we've been having some conversations with them about kind of dialing in some marketing for fundraising campaign that is going to include focusing on the outreach vehicle and book lockers. We've come up with kind of an umbrella campaign based on the Beyond the Walls concept. So it's going to be, the foundation is going to focus that campaign more on the general idea of outreach beyond the walls in the various different ways that we do it. And that allows them the opportunity, hey, if a new project comes along, that's consistent with this, and they say, hey, this makes sense for us to support, it kind of fits into that campaign. And so we've identified like 14 things that are in some stage of us working on that the foundation could provide some support for, all around that idea of, in various ways, getting outside the walls of the library and engaging different populations and different communities. So they were very excited about that. We're supposed to meet sometime this month to kind of hone my very crude graphics and text down to something that looks really nice, but luckily we've got some very talented graphic design folks in the foundation. So looking forward to that.
Good. Okay, Friends?
Well, it's becoming monotonous, but the Friends announced that they had the best month ever last month.
That's so cool.
Every month they seem to say that, so that's a very good thing, both for them and for us.
Yes.
Most of the meeting was taken up with administrative material, largely the revision of their bylaws to bring them up to date and broadly speaking, security issues. there wasn't a lot of action directly involving the light. In other words, we didn't ask for anything.
Yeah. I can't remember who shared with the library last time around. I can't remember. They now have little satellite selling display at Watershed. Okay, was last was that okay? I can't remember.
Good.
August was a blur. But yeah,
Great, thank you. Any BAM meeting?
Yes. It was lovely. And fun. They have our art, through three art visits scheduled for the end of the month or, this month, next month. And the folks who were there, on Monday were so excited about the art and they did some painting and, looked really lovely. So, Jen said they are hoping she's reached out to some folks on getting an advisory group back together. I guess dissolved during COVID, maybe. And some people moved away and
yes.
So she's had some challenges that way, but she said she's reached out to some folks directed to try to get local people more than Portland and hoping to have that up and running by February.
And as some of you remember, that advisory, it was never officially constituted. So when we redid the bylaws, we actually defined, the BAM as the BAM committee as a subcommittee of the library board. And so we've been working to, recruit people on there, and we wanted to make sure that, at least prioritize people who live in the community and use the library. So Jen's been making some good contacts and so yeah.
Great. And I don't know if we have anything about teams with.
We had a tech meeting. Well, let me go grab Sabrina. Okay, I've asked Sabrina to join us. Lisa, so she can give a quick update on, I believe it was the inaugural tech meeting for this year.
Yeah. So we had a meeting on Sunday, and we have a total of 16 TAC members this year, which is like double what we had.
Are they from the city and outside as well,
That is a really good question. I don't require them to tell me exactly where they live, but I can certainly find out. Some people live very, very close, I know, within the neighborhood, but, and actually, some do live in unincorporated because I actually have I have 2 students that actually live in our service district, but they go to Canby High School. So I do definitely have unincorporated students. Let's see. Well, we went over our basic, it's like the first meeting is always a bit of a slog, and I kind of warned them because I want to go over the bylaws that we have and the purpose of TAC. And then we did create in 2023 a little code of conduct to kind of remind them of how to take turn. It's Robert's order, but like it's carved down a little bit just so they understand like taking turns, making sure everybody's voices are heard, and giving everybody an opportunity to really voice their opinions and perspective. Lisa was there, and I had her go over what her role is as a liaison and how she comes to these meetings and then presents that information. And then also we talked a little bit about, we highlighted the importance of them as a group and how their voices are being heard in the library board meetings because of Lisa, and then also opening it up and making sure that they know that, they might have the opportunity to actually present information here. So for some of them that are interested in taking on more leadership roles. And then we dipped our toes a little bit into kind of what a library board is. And then also like we talked about the foundation and the friends, and kind of like we have all of these really great support groups, helping us
be successful at the library and having support and just for a variety of things. So we did that, and then we played a couple games that were a total fail, but that's okay. They were like, what? It was fine. It was a learning experience for everyone. It wasn't a total fail. We all had a good time. And then last year I implemented giving each of them little name plaques that have, so that when they're sitting in a circle, I can see their names, they can see their names. And so we ended with them just getting a chance to decorate them and having little, I have them up in my office if you care to look at them later. We have some very, very artistic students. And board members. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we went over. Let's see what else. I did The Young Tech, is that still happening?
The Young Teen Advisory Committee, yeah, that is happening. I don't know how many members that Barrett has. But we will have we always have our co-chairperson is always the liaison to YTAC. And so we don't have a chair or co-chair or a scribe yet. We always take the first meeting to go over like what those positions are and the requirements for those. So we have in our bylaws, and now they're currently putting their names in the hat for that. So I'm collecting information from them. They have to answer a couple of questions, and then what I do is I have that all written up, and I send that along with the agenda for next month, and then I have them do a paper voting, so it's kind of anonymous, because they like to keep information anonymously. They like to vote on like stuff, but if I really want to get some real information from them that might be like really want to say, it's often easier for them to just fill it out on paper or give it to me in like a survey or something. So I think that's kind of it. It was just sort of like run of the mill, and so next.
A lot of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited, and so I'm always like, okay, keep them engaged, And so next month with the which actually is in a couple of weeks, because we're gonna meet earlier in October. We're gonna start going over just what they want to do, what they're interested in. Maybe I'm trying to approach this round of TAC with like, what do you want to learn? So I can either teach you myself or get someone from the community that might have that skill set to come in and like teach you that. And whether it's like a leadership thing or like, who knows what they're gonna ask me. And then also like, what do they want to see in the library? What are some things that, the usual things, but I'm really trying to get them to understand that the things that they're wanting to put forward for activities are things that they need to be interested in wanting to attend to. Like, that's like, you should come to these events as well. Because putting them on is a lot of work.
Right.
For, it's a tough crowd. Anyway, but yeah, it was a good meeting, and everybody was really great. And I have a really diverse group again this year, with like online school students, or public school and charter school and things like that. So that's nice to have that perspective. They're not all coming from the same school, which is cool.
Great, thank you.
And I will give kudos to Sabrina for being willing to work with a 16 member.
I know, it was
not turning anybody away who can apply for TAC.
Yeah.
So that's a little more challenging, I'm sure, but thank you very much for being willing to do so. And since you're sitting here, I just have to say, we've had 2 very successful weeks of Switch Lounge video game. We had 31 people last week.
31 students after school last Wednesday. Down upon Monday. No, it was really great. I learned that the case, they weren't getting out early on Wednesdays and prior or something. I'm not really sure. It was very weird. And then all of a sudden, so I was starting, like when you have your meetings, I would be doing Switch Lounge from like 4 to 5:30 typically.
Wow.
And they were here at like 3.
And I'm like, what are you doing here? It's an hour before switch. And so I found out that they get out at 2:20. And so I adjusted it. Yeah, I adjusted it to start. They're still not coming in until about 3 because they usually go and they eat and they hang out and do all this stuff. So, yeah, I adjusted the time to have them start to do 3 to 4:30, which seems to be good. So, yeah.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, anything else?
Volunteer appreciation, right? It's October 4th.
Yes, October 4th. So, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We'll be there. I hope everybody, if you're able to make it.
Tabling beforehand at the Fall Fest.
Yes.
Well, that
That's,
which sounds like a great event too.
yes. We're having the Parks Department is having a Fall Fest event in Library Park. You know, be supporting them. We'll be doing a couple of pop-up read-alouds over in the Story Circle, weather permitting. And yeah, well, that would be
11 to 3.
yeah. We'll see. They're gonna have to close off part of the street over there, which we haven't done before on the day when we're open to the public. So we'll sort of say, hey, we'll try that. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it should be good.
All right, so the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.